they have like emo night the first Tuesday of every month.
Barbarella's.
Barbarella's.
There's emo night at Secret Group every now and then. I've been to that.
I know Secret Group has a bunch of things because they've had K-pop night, which I've always wanted to go to, and I never get to go.
You haven't gone there?
No, surprisingly. But I really wanted to go to anything Hispanic at the moment because
Hispanics we make everything better.
We make everything better always.
We've been talking. This has been a realization that we made for like a couple months now. I mean, we've always known it. You know what I mean? But like,
I felt it.
The last couple of weeks, like we've been just going out a lot or just hanging out, you know, whether it's like partying or whatever.
Yeah.
And every time I'm like, Latin people just fucking do it better.
We do it way better. So much better. You can't catch us on work ethic. No. You can't catch us on nothing.
Food. You can't touch us on food. Music.
All the carbs you can eat.
If I have to go to one more club with a white DJ, like I'm killing myself.
I might start live streaming DJs.
Oh yeah, you said that.
I just picked up.
So does that mean that we're just gonna be like walking up into these clubs with you?
If you want to
help me out. That's what I'm hearing.
You know what my mom told me the other day? She went to Fabian's. And the day that I went to Bad Bunny's night at
I'm still fucking pissed that I didn't get to go there.
I'm so pissed that you didn't get to come because it was so fucking fun. Like the fact that it was like one of the best nights. No, I'm just kidding. That's an exaggeration. I actually
just
don't
the way
say
alone,
that.
I would have been like best nights.
No, it wasn't one of the best nights, but it was so fun. It was one of the few nights where I had like a lot of fun, because usually like I go out and I have a lot of fun and I dance around and I'm hanging out with my friends and stuff like that, but like it's not like the way that I would like go out and party, you know what I mean? Because I'm not like white American, like I'm not a gringa and I'm not, you know, like black from the States. So I'm like, this isn't my fucking vibe. Like I'll have fun, you know, if I'm drunk enough.
I fucking feel that though, because
but that's not the way that I party. And when I went that day, I was like, this is how we fucking party. Like I want to see someone like shaking some ass. I want to see somebody grinding on somebody else. I want to see everybody on pepas like all fucking night long.
This is like really the only reason, because I've had a couple friends been like, let's go to Miami, and I'm like, I would never want to go to Miami, but then it dawned on me
love to go to Miami.
that I would actually love to go to Miami, because one, I'm a club girl. Like I am 100,000% somebody who you put me in a club, I will shake ass and throw it everywhere, which way. And I don't need alcohol to do it, so that makes me even better, because I can do this sanely.
For sure,
I don't need that. I'm like fucking down. Let's fucking go. I have the alcohol just already in me.
Yeah,
hereditary.
Latina.
And so to me, I was always like, nah, I wouldn't want to go. But then I'm like, no, wait, the fuck I would.
I would love
Hell
to go to
yes,
Miami.
I would love to go to Miami.
Miami's lit as fuck.
Miami's lit as fuck. Because they have all of the fucking clubs that play Bad Bunny, play all the reggaeton. Like that. Like,
I mean, you get a lot of like toxic masculinity over there.
Oh yeah, like it's a fucking shit show.
But
you have fucking fun.
And the thing about Miami though is that it's worse here when it comes to like socialites. That's the only thing, is that like if you don't know nobody, if you're not in the industry, if you're not like you know, spending a fuck ton of money, like you're gonna have like a decent, like a regular time. But like if you're in the know, it's lit out there. Yeah, is lit, because like all the like real estate moguls live over there, plus like the entertainers, and you're by the beach, so it's a lot more tropical. And like I want to go. Then you get like Latin people, and then the strip clubs are fucking fire over there. So
I want to go to Tan.
Porn stars be living over there like crazy.
Dude, we should go to Miami. We would have so much fun. Okay, we'll talk about this after. I was talking about my mom. She went to fucking Fabian's, and I was like, I like going to Fabian's. I've only been a couple times, but like, if I go out, like if it's my weekend and I'm like, I want to go out this weekend, I don't want to fucking go to Fabian's because I don't want to wait an hour outside. Like I don't want to fucking stand. True. That is something that I quite honestly refuse to do, which is why I'm like, I don't know if I'm ever going to go out in New York, because I'm like, I just refuse to stand in a fucking line to get into it. Like I'm not even gonna try. Like I don't even want to do that.
Luckily for me, the places I do or did go to New York in, I knew the people. Like I knew people who worked there.
If I know somebody, like whatever, but I'm not gonna stand in line. So it doesn't matter.
So it was actually really nice.
My mom goes, you know, I was talking to like some friends or whatever that we ran into them, because one of them like DJs there and the other one is like the manager or whatever, because my parents are well connected, I guess. And she was like, they were, you know, talking or whatever. And then she like mentioned me and they were like, where's your daughter? And she was like, oh, she doesn't come here because she doesn't want to stand in line. And they were like, give her my number and we like this is what we do. Just give her my number and we can get her. She doesn't have to fucking stand in line. And I was like,
so that means that I'm gonna go.
My motherfucking mother is the one giving me the contacts to get to the fucking. My mom is the plug, bro. I was like, what is this? And number two, I was like, Mom, I have been complaining about this for so long, so much so that you know it. You told them verbatim what I've said as to why I don't like to go to Fabian's, and just now you're why didn't you tell me they work there? I would have asked for their number myself.
Yeah.
Fucked up. But now we got to plug at Fabian's.
Fuck it up, because I really like Fabian's music. I really fucking do. That's what I mean.
I love going there because I love there and waiting and
I hate that the place is so small.
I like that.
They opened it up though, because they opened like a patio section, so it's like bigger now.
Okay.
I like that though, because you know how many people I threw ass on that time that I was there, and they were all like fucking like great. All the women are amazing.
It was Fabian's is always a good fucking time.
That reminds me of the time I went with Dad to the Galleria, and this was when Pops was running the clinics. So he was like, the money was coming in, and I walk into the Galleria, and my dad, and I'm like, oh, like, Dad, where you want to go? Like, whatever, right? And he walks into, we both walk into some like, it was like some designer store. Like it wasn't like a big designer store, but it was like watches and shit. Like it was a big one. And as soon as we walk in, they're like, "Oh, Mr. Jimenez, how can we help you?" And I was like,
"Okay, yeah," because Dad used to buy watches like up the ass. My dad had like,
excuse you, and Carlton would do it too. Jimenez. So they were like, "Oh, Mr. Jimenez, it's nice to see you again." And I was like,
"Again?
I've never been here." So I thought they were talking to me, and I was I've never been here. And my dad's like, and my dad goes like this. Yeah, just whatever, and they like come and they take off his watch, and then they like put like they give him like a little like a tablecloth or like some rag or whatever, and he sits down, and they come with like 4 or 5 new watches, and they're like like putting them on him and shit, and I'm just like, bro, what?
Like what is happening right now?
And Pops is like, anyway, so yeah, we were just talking about like I was telling you and this and that, and I'm like. No, you weren't.
Rewind, bitch.
You weren't telling me shit. You were saying things, but now you have to explain what the hell is going on.
Nah, my parents don't got it like that. They just like the Colombian circle in Houston is fucking crazy. And like, to be fair, this is what they do everywhere we go. But like Colombian specifically, like everybody knows, like my stepdad knows so many fucking people. It's kind of ridiculous. Like every fucking club owner, every Colombian like restaurant owner, like everything. So they just know everyone. So they just have a fucking plug for everything. It's insane.
Yeah,
fuck it up.
And I was sitting there being like, and so why haven't I been taking advantage of this?
Yeah, the dancing will go hard. The dancing will go hard, and the food is good too. But
I've never had their food.
Y'all just need seasoning though.
I've never had their food. Honestly, if Boots and Shoes, I feel like we've been whenever they did Latin night, and when Boots and Shoes does Latin night,
is pretty cool.
It's fun.
I
fucks with it.
I like Boots and Shoots both times I've gone. So I liked it when we went for my birthday the first time, and that was about how long ago was it? That was a while back. That was last birthday. So it was a year ago.
Some change ago.
Yeah, a year ago. Yeah. It was really fun. I don't know what the fuck they were playing, but all I remember is me and Bree were just having a time of our fucking lives.
Yeah.
I was sweaty. She was sweaty. I have pictures of us kind of tumbling out.
I love that.
Yeah. You know what
that
I mean?
was the day I remember that day because Carlos was there with us, and we were just chilling. We were all dancing, and then two guys started fighting, like in the middle of the dance floor. They started fighting or whatever, like fucking machismo and shit. And Carlos, as soon as he saw it, pulls out his phone and is like flashing the light at him, and it's just like yo. And me, I'm even worse. I'm like right next to the guy that got pushed.
Let him say that to you?
I'm right next to the guy that got pushed. I'm like, hey, you gonna let him do that to you right now though?
Shut the fuck up.
And I was like, look at all these pretty girls, dog. Like you gonna let him talk to you like that? You gonna let him? And he got hype. He got hype, and they started going. And then as soon as he went for it, I went to the other side.
You are such a menace to society.
I don't know. Like, if y'all are the ones fighting in the middle of the fucking club, like, what the fuck is wrong with you? So I'm just be like, if y'all bought it, y'all bought it. Let's see what you're gonna do.
Because me and Brie were just like,
I turn into like I'm your conscience, like right on the
side.
Your
little devil on the shoulder.
I really turn into that guy. As soon as that happens, I just go up to them and I'm like, hey, you gonna let that happen?
You are an instigator.
I do like to instigate.
He is the biggest devil's advocate you could ever think of. Like, instigator, devil's advocate. That is Juan's purpose in life. Like Juan's purpose is to just make people pissed.
Like, you're not even his advocate anymore. It's like he pays your bills at this point.
1000%.
I solemnly swear that I'm up to no good.
Yes. That was such a you're such a millennial. Like,
I like it. I like the.
Sometimes
the
I forget series. Sometimes I just forget that you are just such a millennial.
I know. Yeah, I'm like prime. I'm like prime.
30 years
like 92.
Old,
that's when I was born.
That's cray.
Yeah.
Like, you reached that, like...
Hey, I've been meeting...
Speaking of millennials, did you guys see that Disney adults thing that was trending?
What?
That was... Well,
I don't want to know anything about Disney adults.
Look, so this couple is getting married, and they describe it as their dream wedding, and they're like, oh my God, it's the dream wedding or whatever, right? And obviously, they start talking about how, like, their parents helped them pay for the wedding and this and that and blah, 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 and the third. So the controversy started when... This millennial couple revolves their life to some degree or another around Disney. Like, going to Disney World, going to Disneyland, experiencing all the Disney shit, like, blah, blah, blah. Which, to be fair, that's like, the people be doing that shit. Like, and it's not just a millennial thing. Like, boomers do it.
No. Disney adults are a thing.
Yeah, like, that's a whole cult in and of itself. Right?
It is a whole cult.
So I'm like, all right, whatever, right? So they paid money for, like, Mickey and Minnie to show up at their wedding and like make like appearances and shit. Apparently it was a fuck ton of money because it was like legit Mickey and Minnie. It wasn't like
from the parks.
It wasn't like fucking like Dio Fidencio with like a mouse like with
they got
with
their
like a Chuck E. Cheese suit and like, you know what I mean, showing up. You know, it was like a legit Mickey and Minnie going through the Disney services to some, I don't know, something allegedly. Like that, right? Mm-hmm. And in order to have the Mickey and Minnie, they cut the food from the ceremony. So like they weren't gonna
from the reception.
From the reception. They cut the food. So like if you wanted to eat, you had to pay. And so they weren't feeding their guests. It wasn't like part of like how you usually go and you get like a plate or whatever. And to their credit, it was advertised as such. Like they said, like, we're not gonna have food. You're gonna have to pay whatever there. And like, so there was this huge uproar on Twitter about the fact that like, how dare they cut the food? Like, if I'm gonna show up to a wedding and I'm not gonna be fed, like, what the fuck is wrong with you? For some Mickey and Minnie, like, what is going on? And like, so they were like trashing these like Disney adults and like how ridiculous they are just to get like their Disney fix or whatever. And people were going off.
I mean, okay, first of all, food is expensive too, and
well, they're gonna overcharge you for everything at a wedding.
Yeah, so, everything is expensive at a wedding. Yeah. But if you would rather pay 2 adults inside a costume to show up at your wedding as opposed to food for like 100 people,
facts.
And it was like that toxic tia that said something. They're like, I can't believe y'all ain't gonna, like, y'all aren't feeding us. You know what I mean? Like, everybody was cool except for this one tia.
And all of a sudden,
I am that tia.
You know what I mean?
I would have been like, cool, I'm not coming to your fucking wedding. Number one, what are we your fucking wedding if I'm gonna see Mickey and Minnie?
But then again, who's the wedding for?
True.
Is the wedding for the people that are watching?
Right, on one side, I'm like, I mean, listen, you can do whatever it's your wedding day. You can literally do whatever you want. You can have the most outrageous shit. But if you do some like silly ass shit like that, I'm gonna roast you for it. What do you mean you paid
roasted
thousands of dollars for people in costumes to come into your fucking wedding?
It was legit thousands of dollars. It was like,
I know, like because that's how much fucking, like, I can't imagine how much, if you had to cut the food, like not get like cheaper catering. You know what I mean? Not lower your food budget. You had to cut the food for however many guests you had in your wedding.
Not even get your uncles to barbecue for everybody. Like not even
like cut down on like flowers, which are expensive as shit. Or like, you know what I mean? Like you didn't adjust your budget to like be able to have this. It's like that. Like I can't even imagine how fucking expensive for two adults in costume.
And they were only there for like an hour.
Right,
an hour.
Yes, it's expensive. Honestly, an hour is a long fucking time. I thought you were gonna be like they were there for like 45 minutes.
No.
Why?
They were there for an hour.
The caucasity. Why? Why would you do that? That doesn't make sense now.
That's where I'm like, you know what? I don't feel bad for y'all for getting roasted because something is not right up there.
Roasted. Well, it was like obvious, like always, there's always like two camps, right? And camp number one was like, how dare you take out the food? I'm not showing up to your wedding, that the caucasity. And then the other side, was like, bro, it's their wedding. They can do whatever the fuck they want. Like, celebrate it however you want.
I get both of them, though. Because, it's like, you can do whatever you want. I'm not going to your fucking wedding. Like,
and that was the other thing.
You know what I mean? Like, but you can do whatever you want. But also, like, it is a little bit because who are you doing that for? You know what I mean? Like, you could have gone to Disney and see him.
You could have gotten married at Disney.
Like, that's not. You could have gotten married at Disney.
Wait. They weren't married at Disney?
No.
This was like a wedding reception.
They hired
now that's the dumbest motherfucking thing I ever did heard in my life. Because if it would have made more sense to me if they were having a Disney wedding and they had Disney characters pop up in and out of their wedding, because it'd be like,
it
was
just two adults that were Disney adults having a wedding.
That's ridiculous.
But also,
I would have much rather have my wedding at Disney. The point of a
wedding, which I know that like weddings have become so ridiculous, so insane, like of an event. But even in that, like, the point of a wedding is like you're celebrating like this like decision that you and your partner are doing with the people that you're inviting.
Right.
You know what I mean? So like, why are you making the people that you're inviting being like, I want to celebrate this with you. I want you guys to be witnesses and like be a part of this. Why are you making it seem like they're doing you a favor or something? You know what I mean? Yeah. Like this. Number one, this shouldn't be like about obligations. Mm-hmm. You know, like now they're gonna be there for hours and you're not gonna feed them. Then what is this about? Yeah. Then what are you having a fucking wedding for? What is the point of you having Mickey and Minnie? What is the fucking point?
I went back and forth because a part of me was like, okay, there's a little bit of a rationale. Like, if you are going to invite people, it doesn't matter if it's a small gathering or if it's a huge gathering, right? Part of your responsibility at that point is like going to be to provide some sort of
appetizers
for the entire time to be entertaining. Mm-hmm. Like, you're going to watch, you're going to do the whole ceremony, father-daughter dance and whatever the hell, like todo el pedo. And like, I can understand how, like, to some degree, like, yes, it's your wedding, but you also have to, you now bear a responsibility to host everybody.
Your wedding is a ceremony. And if you didn't want to have to do the, like, hosting part, then don't have a reception. Right. You could have just had a ceremony.
Right. And had Minnie and Mickey officiate
the reception is literally you just throwing a party, babe. Right. Like, that's it.
But on the other hand, there's some other people that be doing some dumbass, stupid ass shit that has nothing to do with Disney, that I'm just like, yo, if that can happen, then I guess technically this can happen. But also,
what other things? Because I feel like anything else I think about,
I immediately thought about, like, remember like that MTV My Sweet 16 or like my, you know what I mean? Where it was like the most fucking ridiculous, like, but fucking.
Here's the fucking kicker with that:
15 Bridezillas or whatever the fuck it was.
Is that the guests fucking benefited from that? You know what I mean? Like when Quiero Mis 15 or like My Sweet 16 had like it's like they spent thousands of dollars on like a performer. The people invited got to see the fucking performer.
Yeah, I guess so.
Nobody at your wedding is excited to see Mickey and Minnie. Nobody cares.
Your wedding is excited.
Unless it's a Disney family, maybe. I don't know.
Even then, I would be like, girl, I can go to Disneyland anytime. I would have loved to have a meal. Because I've been here since 2 p.m. Yep. Yeah. And I'm starving.
You ain't got no bacon?
Like, you couldn't even pass around like pigs in a blanket, bitch? You can buy them at H-E-B. What do you mean?
Facts, though. Facts though.
Yeah. So I'm like, and those people didn't stop feeding their fucking guests in order to like. If you have to stop feeding your guests to get Mickey and Minnie, then maybe you can't afford it, and that's okay.
What is it about food that makes everybody so like? Because if I went to a wedding and you didn't feed me, I'd be like, all right, I'll just eat. I'll just pick up something on the way home.
I think specifically for a wedding, again, like you're there for hours, dude. Like you're there for fucking hours.
Yeah. But I mean, I've also like not eaten for hours.
Like, I mean, yeah, but I don't want to do it on purpose. Like. You know what I mean? It's like, sometimes I've been busy doing shit and I haven't eaten for like a prolonged amount of time. But I'm sure I would have liked to.
There was a thing there was a thing in like Scandinavia or like Sweden or some shit. Did you see it? I
saw that shit. Did you see it? And I was really confused and I haven't been able to really like figure out.
Okay, so I'll explain it to you. And it has to do with food, right? This is why I'm talking about it. So apparently, you know how like when you're a kid, like, and you're like, hey, Ama, let me go play with like Daniel down the street or whatever. And you're like, and mom's like, te quiero aquí a las 9 or whatever, right? Yeah, and you go, and because you're going to spend the day with Daniel. It's the summer or whatever, right? So you're with the homies, you're outside and you're doing shit or whatever, right? Around dinner time, if Daniel's mom is like, yo, I made food, then we all eating, right? Mm-hmm. Like it's customary that like, you know what I mean? It's not even like a written rule, but like the mom knows all the kids are over. Or like Daniel and Juan are over, so
they just know. Like, I'm gonna feed all them kids. We're all gonna
eat, mijo. Like, eat with us, because you know. Then you gotta go back home, and then y'all are in the middle doing shit. Like it's already understood, right? Yeah. In Sweden, apparently, if you're at a person's house and y'all are doing shit, let's say it's Daniel and Juan in Sweden, right? And like I go to Daniel's house, and it's Daniel's people's families did dinner time. I would have to wait in the living room and wait for them to finish eating. So, and then after they finish eating, he can resume. We can continue with the festivities. As hell, bro. Isn't that? And that's people were up in arms about that shit. People were up in arms about the fact that like, yo, you don't feed your guests, but people from Sweden are like, yo, that's totally normal. Like y'all are just weird about food. Like. We understand, like, that's their family time. So let me, like, take a little pause real quick. And then, like, so, like, Sweden was like, yo, we don't see the problem. And everybody around especially in America, were like, everybody was like,
especially Latinos, we were like, we feed everybody, bro.
Especially Southern people from, like, in the South, like, in the America.
That's why they say Southern hospitality really is a thing, though. Because let me tell you this. I feel like there's a lot of people that I've met that are not from Texas and not from... Recently now I've met a lot of different people from a lot of different parts of the world, and they're always like, why are y'all are like really nice down here, like y'all are really considerate for other people. And I'm like, well, isn't that just supposed to be a thing? Like, I don't understand what the issue is with being
grandmas will be like, oh, we gotta feed him, he's too skinny or whatever. Like, you know what I mean? Grandmas be saying dumb shit like that when you just saw me eat a whole elote, like, you know what I mean? Like,
that was wild.
So like in Sweden they don't do that. In Sweden, like, you gotta wait until
it was a Reddit post. It was somebody put on Reddit, and they were like, one time I went over to my Swedish like friend's house, and the mom was like, okay, dinner's ready, and he told me to wait in his room. And everybody was like, what the fuck? And then everybody started sharing, like, because the thing is that everybody was like, but why?
Yeah.
You know, like, they were
it's
like,
an interesting custom, I
like
guess.
Common courtesy.
Why?
Like, courtesy would say, hey, do you want some?
Yeah.
If you don't want some, go in the room.
You know like, what I mean? I read, there were some people that were like, you know, like, I think it had something to do with like, they don't like wasting food. And so like, if they didn't know that you were coming over, like if they didn't plan ahead, then it's like, hey, like we didn't have like prior notice. But I'm also like,
bro, like,
girl, I get that, because, you know, if I was at school and like right after school, my mom would pick me up and take, like, we would go home and have lunch. Like my grandma had already made lunch. And so if I was like, can this person come over? We already asked her mom. She would be like, bitch, like, I did, like, we're about to go eat, and like we didn't prepare for her. But they would just make something. Like they would just like, you know, figure it out. So I'm like, that's still not an issue.
Yeah. And it's so weird to me to think about it, even thinking about it in that sense, because it's like, for instance, as Mexicans, the shit that we eat is so cheap. Like rice is cheap, beans is cheap. tortillas is cheap. Yeah. And if my mama knew that I was coming over with friends, she'd make rice beans and have some tortillas ready for me and have the tuna cans out. She'd have the freaking hot dogs ready. She'd be like, look, y'all gonna snack on this and I'm gonna go eat my big girl food over here, but y'all ain't gonna care because y'all eat like fucking birds anyways.
But so like, I think what was interesting,
and also like I think the part like that I think like a lot of people were talking about it when they were younger, like they were doing this like
to children
yeah which was the part that I was like as a mom, not me, but I'm saying like the way that my mom was, you know what I mean, like the perspective that I would have had from the like my mom is like a mom, you know what I mean? Like that is very much her identity. Like she would have never allowed that. What do you mean?
Yeah, my moms would never.
No, what do you mean? I would never. I would literally never.
Yo, but like it also brought up an interesting point culturally when people from like Europe started like saying stuff. They were like, the only reason y'all do that is because, or like the only reason y'all think that is because food is such an excess in the United States. Like you guys spend so much food, like waste so much food that to you, like it just seems like a natural thing to do.
They say that, but
I raised you this. I'm not from the United States, and I am fairly
that's what
like,
they say.
Arguably from a country that doesn't really have that much food.
Yeah, I mean,
you just don't.
Speaking on Mexican,
it's a courtesy thing. I got it, but again, like the food at the wedding, I was like, I mean, all right, like my life does not revolve around food like that. So like I'm just
I think whenever it
personally
started,
I'd be like, all right, fine, whatever. Like it's not a big deal. But culturally, it does seem a little bit like
I do think it depends.
I feel
like I can't make a peanut butter and jelly.
That's what I'm saying. I think it was weird.
Cut the crust off. I don't got like the
also,
mold.
you're telling me y'all don't have left? Like it just doesn't make any sense. Y'all can't whip up some eggs. Eggs and rice, bro.
Put some
food of the gods.
Put some lettuce.
Eggs and rice.
Eggs and rice.
Wrap some.
How do you eat your eggs and rice?
What do you mean? You scrambled.
You scramble them? Porque the way I eat eggs and rice together is hard boiled eggs and then rice and like tuna.
No, I don't do hard boiled eggs.
Either a fried egg, like a fried egg, and then you chop it and then you like mix it, or like sometimes even.
But like what kind of rice? Like white rice?
White rice.
White rice. It's because when we think of rice, we think the aloe rice, like aloe rice.
Mexican rice with all the little
No. I mean white rice.
When I eat white rice and eggs, it's because I'm eating like Asian style food.
Yeah.
That's what whenever you said hard-boiled egg, and I was like, that's
because Mexicans, whenever you talk to Mexicans and you say rice,
struggle meal.
We're talking
that
about
makes sense.
I automatically assumed you meant like Mexican
that makes sense.
rice.
Whenever I understand your face now. I was like, what do you mean? I thought this was a struggle meal for everyone.
Like tomato-based rice with
No.
I introduced
white rice
to somebody.
That makes more sense because then you can like you can even fry it and make the fried rice. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, that makes total sense.
You could like
no, just white rice and egg.
Yeah, but I'm just,
it's like if you don't have groceries or you just don't want to fucking the way that I be eating that shit.
I be eating that shit too.
I be eating that shit.
I be eating that shit all the time.
Yeah, sometimes I be getting like the tuna with the elote and I put mayo and like
damn.
Fuck it up with some saladitas.
That shit is so fucking
Remember one time you brought me, you had elote whenever we were still working at Discover, and I had never had it.
You didn't like it, huh?
I did not like it.
No.
I did not like it.
Like elote,
like corn cup, yeah.
The mayonnaise with the cheese, I was like, I'm good.
Maybe you'd like it cuando se lo hacen con crema.
Maybe.
Because that's how they do it in Mexico. I fucking love it.
But also, like in Latin, correct me if I'm wrong. In Central and South America, they call elote maíz, right? And then it tastes a little different. Mazorca, and then it tastes different. It's not as sweet.
No, it is.
Really?
It is sweet.
Well, I don't know who told me.
There's a different kind of corn.
It's less sweet.
Maybe. No. So we have yellow corn, which is very sweet, and the white corn is typically where people eat. Like I love.
No, that is true. It's sweeter here.
It's sweeter, right? Like
corn is not as sweet.
We get used to like the yellow corn, and that's like a sweeter, and it's not even actually sweet, but comparatively speaking to the white corn,
it is sweeter.
We
eat a lot more white corn back home, I think.
Yeah.
Yes. That's most people. I think that's like a Latin American thing. It's like that's just like predominantly what's grown over there.
Yeah.
And that shit fucking is busting. It's so fucking good.
Hits.
It's hard as fuck. When you bite into it, it's like, but it's so worth the like whatever, you know.
Do that at the fucking wedding.
Fuck it up.
Fuck a Disney.
Dude, if I don't have like a whole
it's like I don't understand. Shit, like, why do you want them there so badly? Is what I'm not like. It's not getting through my head.
I'm not gonna judge people. I'm not gonna judge like weird couples.
But I'm trying to put myself in their shoes. You know what I mean? Where I'm like, obviously, I'm not a Disney adult, so I can't relate to wanting like making. But I'm like, okay, who would I want that fucking bad that I would be?
I would only want that if it's like a performer. Like if it's somebody that's performing, I'm like, if you told me that I could book like Bad Bunny for my fucking wedding,
would you do it?
Oh, I would cut off all you bitches for Bad Bunny at my wedding. In fact, it would just be me and Bad Bunny having a wedding.
Matter of fact, I wouldn't get married.
I would just marry. I'd just go on a date with Bad Bunny.
I would just pay to go on a date with Bad Bunny.
Remember that Maroon 5
I feel like I still couldn't even do that. Like no food at all.
She's still like food.
I fucking couldn't.
You're not gonna give me
no, bro. I would at least like. You're not gonna have like at least a bowl of Doritos.
I don't have no fucking goldfish or nothing.
Like you're a
bowl of Doritos. I got those 30-cent, like the 30 bags, the 30-cent bags.
Wait, like, did they not I would at least pass
around some like pequeños or some shit. You know what I mean? Like you wouldn't have.
Did y'all see? Speaking, I got 2 points on more weddings. We're gonna talk about weddings. Did y'all see that? Because y'all talked about Bad Bunny. Did y'all see the Sugar video for Maroon 5 when they put it out? It's just them like,
the Maroon 5 video.
It's just them like mob dancing at weddings.
They crashed the wedding.
Yeah, it's like crash. Yeah, sorry, my bad.
But it was cute because a lot of people were like, "Oh my god, it's fucking Maroon 5."
Yeah, they would like reveal like the thing, and they'd be like back there like singing and shit, and like. People were like, "Holy shit!" Like in that case, like that'd be really
appreciate if they did that. If like Harry Styles just decided to do that and crash like.
I would love that.
Something. For some reason, it was like super on brand for Maroon 5 to do that.
Yeah, no, that sounds like something Maroon 5 would do.
Like, especially at the time that they did it, like it was such a cute song, they weren't like mega.
They were kind of in the like.
They were like
this
prime.
was 2015.
They were prime.
So I remember that specifically because I remember prime. I have core memories of Sugar. In 2015,
it was like growing up. Like, it was definitely at their prime, but like for some reason, like they didn't have like. I mean, or maybe I'm wrong. Maybe like Adam Levine has star power, but like something about
they are very much like a millennial star. Like they're, you know what I mean?
Maybe
it's
they
like
were crashing the right weddings.
Well, yeah, because
like it wasn't it wasn't. You know what I mean?
I'm sure they were definitely did some crashing, scouting. Yeah, they weren't just crashing any fucking wedding. Right. What do you mean?
I also feel like they were crashing the people who like knew their songs.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say.
That's what I mean. Like
that they were crashing weddings of like people that were fucking with like This Love whenever they come out. Yeah, when
how
songs
else
of Jane,
would they know where the weddings are? You guys, like they had to do the, you know what I mean? Like,
I know, but I'm just saying, like, even the video was super adorable and like it felt like super on brand. It didn't feel like a publicity stunt. It felt like a really genuine, authentic, like sweet, like you know what I'm kind of thing, as opposed to drama wedding. Drum roll.
Britney Spears
got married. Did you see that homeboy
Jason
pulled up?
Alexander,
her ex guy had to get like tackled.
Monster. Why can't y'all let women be happy?
Okay, so somebody explain to me what happened because I just saw the headline and I just know homeboy crashed the wedding.
He just
and was
showed
like,
up.
I object.
No way that he say I object.
No, I thought he was
just like no. He was like whenever the Free Britney movement happened, like he was like, I support that. Like I think she deserves so much better. Like he went to like rallies in LA and like all this shit, and he's a weirdo. But you know,
so is Britney.
But like free my girl Britney. I get it. He like showed up to her house live streaming, like live like on Instagram.
The
like
wedding
Instagram
was at her house?
live.
The wedding was at her house?
I think so, like in the backyard, you know, like they put like a little tent. Yeah, it's a bit.
Talk about
did you not see the pictures? The tent was gigantic. Yeah. It looked like a fucking
I didn't see the pictures. I didn't see the pictures.
Whatever. Well, I think it was at her house. He showed up at her house.
Okay.
And he was like, oh, like I am like, you know, like I'm here for her wedding. Like she invited me. Like we talked recently or whatever, and they were like, no, that's not fucking true. Get the fuck out. Somehow he still made it into the fucking house. Oh, which I'm like, what do you mean he still made it to the house? How? If security already stopped him, what do you mean? What do you mean?
So what did he say?
I
picture.
So he didn't get to her. I don't think the police was called and he was like restrained. Stop the wedding?
Hold on. I'm reading about this right now. But he said some shit
like she is like, he said something like, so she's my only and my one and only ex-wife or some shit like that.
They arrested him and he was charged on whatever. But this is the most important part about this article that I just read, and I'm gonna read it to you verbatim.
Go.
Spears was married to Alexander, a childhood sweetheart, for about 55 hours in 2004 before the marriage was annulled. So you mean to tell me that this wasn't somebody that was actually like,
it wasn't K-Fed?
Like, he wasn't even actually with,
I thought the same thing. I was like,
yo, K-Fed showed up dancing. Like, you can't get married.
I was like, no way, bro.
They were married for 55 hours.
I thought it was gonna be fucking K-Fed moonwalking through the wedding. Like, yo, I got 3 of her kids. Like, she loves me more. I pictured, fucking Fiona and Laura Farquaad and like this nigga and this dude just shows up like, I am Jeff Fiona. You know what I mean? That's what I pictured.
He shows up on Dragon.
That's the net. You know what I mean? Fuck it, might as well. She's already going through it. Like, give her a Lord Farquhar wedding. But
oh my god,
it was homeboy that got the wedding annulled. That's the big L,
which
dog.
Means like
that's a big L.
Hey, babe, that means that's not your ex-wife.
Yeah,
like you don't know what annulment means.
Verified. That means that
means your marriage never happened. What did you think you did at the time?
Yeah.
That means that like everybody involved had their fingers crossed. Whenever that happened, it was just for the gram, and that was it. Even though it was way before the gram, but you know what I mean. It was
for the space.
It was for the space. It was for the tabloids. Man, that was wild. My girl Brittany going through it. Leave my girl Brittany alone.
Leave her alone.
Leave
my girl Brittany alone.
She 1000%. Looks so happy though.
Once they like cut off they
ended the
conservatorship or whatever, and then like the next headline was like she's naked all over Instagram. I was all like,
she's naked all over.
Yeah,
Instagram.
It was like she keeps posting like nude, like naked pictures. Yeah. I was all like,
she's hot. Leave her alone.
Immediately as soon as that happened, I was like, the world is correcting itself.
Nature is healing.
Immediately.
Nature is healing. I was all like, yes, this is good. And they were trying to make it like
all the millennials were like, this is it. They
were trying to make it something good.
I know all the conservatives were like, she's going off the rails. Look what you did by ending the conservatorship.
This is what she needed, the conservatorship, and all of us were like,
and everybody was
it's
like,
aligning.
Period.
This is happening.
Like it's T minus however many hours till the
Earth
ayahuasca trip.
axis is again like leveling out.
Yeah. It's like T minus 3 hours till
our God is returning.
Because of an ayahuasca trip or some shit. Like, you know what I mean? She's gonna be there.
I'm happy for her.
Yeah.
We love that for her.
I hope she's
doing great, and I hope she
hope she does an Oprah interview. No pressure, but I do want her.
She said no pressure.
How come Oprah began the bomb ass interviews?
Because
what do you
Oprah.
mean? What kind of question is that?
What do you mean? What like
it's Oprah?
What are you asking?
But why?
Because
she like even the interviews that she does, it's not like we get like this big ass scoop.
Yeah, we do.
When's the last interview that you saw that she was like, yo, like she pulled it out?
She did Meghan and Harry.
Yeah, but that's just because it's hard to get them. What did they say in there that was like, yo?
They were talking about like,
it was like, I'm being bullied because I'm black. I'm like, bitch, we knew that. They're literally the descendants of the fucking conquistadores. Like,
I hate when you like get in these like mindsets where I'm like, you are not going to fight. Like, I don't know how you got yourself into that spot, but I'm pissed because here's why. Because
how is
number
it new
one,
that the royal family doesn't like black people?
Out about it. Number one, it's not that it's new. Obviously, they are the first fucking significant other of a fucking royal family member that is black. Like, yeah, of course, they are the royal family. But it is news that it is openly out there. Like, you could have imagined it, but you didn't have any fucking evidence. You know what I mean? Like, there wasn't anything to like corroborate that.
Yo, and Diana died, dog, and she wasn't even black.
Yeah, so that's a separate issue.
I know, but I'm just saying, like, people are wild. Like,
it's still,
they weren't gonna like you.
Just because it's not shocking doesn't mean it's not news.
But it's not. It's not like this crazy ass scoop. You want to know what was crazy ass scoop? Yesterday, they had the first like hearing of the January 6th thing. Yo, Liz Cheney sat up there and said,
"Oh, I haven't seen the videos."
Oh shit, Liz Cheney sat up there and was like, "Yo, Donald Trump whenever like they were chanting like hang Pence outside of the White House, Donald Trump repeatedly said, let them say it, he deserves it.
That's crazy.
That is some crazy scoop news. That the queen doesn't like black people, I'm like, all right, whatever.
But that's not you like. That doesn't have to do with the actual interview. Like Oprah doesn't do those interviews because they are like we're getting groundbreaking. She does those interviews to give like the people in whatever situation they're talking about like the opportunity to speak for themselves.
It's about being thorough. So like Oprah has
like, she has the cachet because she's fucking.
But it's not even just that. It's like the reason why people do documentaries. You know what I mean? It's like, oh well, we already know what happened, but you want to hear from the people that actually experienced it. Well, like whenever Harry and Meghan, the whole thing was happening, they're not like public people. You know what I mean? Yeah. I mean, they are public people, but they're not like, they're not vloggers. They're not going around being like, this is what, you know, we know from the tabloids and stuff like that. But Oprah gives them this platform to like speak for themselves and give their side of the story in like a safe space. You know what I mean? Yeah, because she also is like a phenomenal interviewer. Like she knows exactly how to
making people feel comfortable and shit.
Yeah, she does. Really what it and is. Like she knows what to ask and they trust her. So it's not about like breaking news. It's just like they get to say their side. Like she did that interview with Rihanna.
I haven't been like entertained at all.
I feel like you're not really into like celebrity shit though. You know,
I saw her with Adele because it was attached to like a concert. Like when 25 came out, they were like, we're gonna do this live performance with Adele. I thought that was smart for her to do it like that. And
her interviews are very like documentary like.
Yeah. And I like the cinematography part of it. Like I like the production quality. That Adele interview stylistically was like fucking phenomenal. And then she was like performing on top of that fucking hill in like wherever the fuck she was in LA. Fucking great. It was fantastic. The interview itself, I'm like, oh, okay. Like that was
to each their own.
You know what I mean? Yeah. But I think I'm just in terms of like, I forgot they interviewed Meghan, but I'm still being petty with her because of her suits got derailed.
Shut up.
Yeah, I'm super petty.
Nobody like get over it. Nobody watched that fucking show.
Plenty of people watched that show.
His face, the face Quan was like,
okay.
All offended.
And they didn't watch it for her, but she was a fucking a main part of the fucking storyline for my boy Mike, and it had to all get derailed and
because she fell in love.
Yeah, I mean, she did upgrade.
Y'all
so I mean,
do not want to see a woman win.
She upgraded, so I'm happy for her. But still, there's a part of me that's like real selfish. I'm like, man, that show was doing fucking great. And then all of a sudden, you can tell when she was like, I'm out of here. And then everything was like, oh crap, fucking writers have to save themselves and like do all this crazy shit. And like, I wasn't with it.
It's like the fact that you watched that show. I didn't even know that show existed until it was like, she's marrying Prince Harry. I was like, who is she? She's an actress. Cool. What was she in? Suits. And I was like, what is that?
It was a great show. It's a good show.
I knew about Meghan Markle from outside of the Suits. So
what did she do outside of Suits?
She was known for talking about a lot of like women empowerment stuff and like reading and stuff like that before.
Oh really?
Yeah, before.
She was like a
started doing that after.
No.
After she got with
No. So she had like already like the only reason why she was kind of like talked about in that like sphere of people was because like after she got with Prince Harry was because they were like, aren't they just so perfect? Like, doesn't she resemble Diana so much because of the fact that she already did shit like that? In the sense that
you mean like behaviorally?
Behavior of how like she already did things like that for people and was very big on
she was always very into like
props. Like I know her story. I know her like her personal life, like her history is so kind of like crazy.
She already had like a lot like of trying to enact change for women is what they were saying, and she'd go to conferences and stuff like that as just a person who'd like to be about it.
Is she you guys' favorite princess or whatever the hell it is?
I knew you were about to say princess
or whatever the fuck they are.
I don't fucking know them.
I'm not British. Why would I have a favorite?
She seems great.
I have a favorite. Kate Middleton all day.
You like Kate Middleton?
Interesting.
Yeah.
I fuck with her in a weird way.
Kate over Meghan for sure.
Really?
Yeah, 100%.
I want to know why.
Really? Yeah, I want to know why.
She's just like fucking looks great all the time. She's fucking
I will
class.
say, I think she has a very interesting knack of being able to wear the fact that she will be the queen of England at one point or another. Correct me if I'm wrong.
She just looks regal. Like she has this like she's very stoic and like quiet. She's not about that like commotion and like or attention. And so she just looks like she's like blends into the background, but she's like that bitch though. Like
she was
Kate over Meghan for sure.
She gives me
although I like Meghan too. I'm not. This is not like a.
She gives me very like Hillary when Bill was a president. Like you could tell she was calling the shots and a lot of things and like. That kind of stuff. So she gives me that kind of energy with what's his name?
I don't know. I don't know any of them. I don't know any of the
she gives me
dudes.
that like
I just know one of the uncles
that
who's like presence on the Epstein
of like she helps him with a lot of different things and like
Andrew
just kind of quietly. Who?
I don't have anything against Kate Middleton, but she just gives like white British.
Oh yeah.
That's it. You know what I mean? Like when people are like,
I mean, they're the whitest of the whitest British.
I'm like she's just you're just saying that because she's white and British. Like, of course she gives queen. Also, that's just what she's gonna. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Is she gonna be the queen?
Well, he's gonna be the king, so she'll be the queen.
I thought they were like removed from that shit. How does it work? How does it work?
What are you talking about?
Because none of them,
Harry and Meghan are not going to be they're not in the line for the throne because they stepped out as royals.
They abdicated.
No. But if they're first of all, you can't stop being a royal. So
they are though.
He's gonna be a royal. She may not be a royal, but he's the royal.
No,
for sure.
Well, for blood-wise, yes.
He might not be getting that money, but blood-wise, he's a royal.
Well, obviously, blood-wise, like he's still like that's still his family, but he's not a royal. He's not a royal. Like he's not a part of the royal family.
It's probably better for him though.
He's a part of the whatever their fucking last name is.
But aren't they like removed? Like who's up next? When she goes,
right
who's
now,
up?
Technically,
it's Philip.
Prince. Yeah,
who's that?
Philip is the one that died. Philip was
he can't even do
Queen
it now.
Elizabeth's husband.
I thought his name was also
Charles.
Charles.
Then is Prince Charles, but he's fucking Biden that doesn't any second.
He looks like he's gonna die before the Queen. Like I'm just gonna say.
And you know what? He deserves it.
He does deserve it.
He's a piece of shit or what?
Dude, he was. You don't know.
Are you?
No,
I don't know
like
what. He's the one that was married to Princess Diana.
Yeah. He married her for no fucking. He just ruined her life. Is basically what happened.
He ruined her life and like terrorized her.
And then he ended up with Camilla anyways.
He was like low-key abusive to like Will and Harry when they were younger. Like it was like he's just a piece of shit.
And he still ended up with fucking Camilla.
And then he married whatever.
Like come on,
whatever.
Okay. So he's next.
He's technically
Queen Elizabeth right now. Prince Charles would be next, and then
Prince William.
It's Will.
Who's Will? Will's
William and Kate Middleton's husband.
So he's gonna be king.
Oh, he's gonna be king.
He's gonna be
king,
babe.
So they can't be denying shit. He's up next.
Like he is.
That's
going
what it is.
to
It's
be
like
king.
nobody thinks that Prince Charles is gonna be king.
Yeah.
Like he's gonna pass away before Queen Elizabeth. 100%.
They 100,000% believe this, and I do too.
Yo, we're gonna be alive when she croaks.
Yeah, we are gonna be alive when we see the next coronation.
I know that's
gonna
be fucking wild.
And it's gonna be Kate.
She has been the longest reigning
and we will definitely be alive for their coronation as well because of the fact that this bitch done outlived everybody in her decade or like whatever. So like if you think about it, Charles is definitely gonna die and early enough for Will to be king, and we are still young enough to where we're younger than Will. So you know, unless we, fucking do something.
Right.
We will see Will become
100%.
Well.
The Queen is also like
so happy
Charles
when Kate Middleton
is gonna pass away before the Queen, probably. But the Queen also doesn't have that many years. Like girl, Lizzie is kind of
She ready.
I'm excited for Kate to be
She ready, but she was real smiley at her jubilee. Like she was real fucking like,
but she's just old, like
the Queen.
Oh, the Queen.
She's not like she's sick or anything.
She's 98 years old, and she's like
the Queen is
the Queen is. My great grandfather lived to 102.
The Queen is British Betty White.
He was on it, bestie.
I bet,
but he's Hispanic, so that's different.
For real though, for real.
The Queen is British Betty White.
I know. I'm so sad that she passed away.
I know, bro.
She's
That's
just
so
chilling.
true.
And
do you think she'll die at 99?
Oh, damn.
She might not reach to be 100.
They're gonna twinsies that shit.
Maybe. Wait. Betty White was a year older than her.
Yeah.
No way.
Betty White was just chilling.
Wow.
Do British people really fuck with the Queen like that, or is it just like?
No, British people fuck with the Queen. You want to know why I know this? I mean, in general, like this is something that like everybody knows. But the other day, I watched this fucking video. It wasn't Bill Hader. Who was it? Fuck. I don't know. It was some comedian.
They fucking go hard. It was
some comedian, and he was sitting with Piers Morgan. You know who Piers Morgan is?
Yeah. 007.
Biggest. What?
He was James Bond.
Piers Morgan.
No, that's Pierce Brosnan. Yo, I'm tripping. Yo, Pierce Morgan is the yeah.
Oh my God.
I don't know why immediately I thought about Pierce Brosnan, and I'm just like, yeah, they'd be talking to Pierce Brosnan. But I
just saw my life flash before my eyes.
I just had to remember right now that
you were about to ruin my life.
Yeah, I was.
No, okay, what was going to follow that was Piers Morgan, the biggest piece of shit alive.
Yeah.
Oh my God. And then you said 007. Oh, yeah. Jesus Christ. I feel like I just lost like 2 years.
Yo, who's going to be the next 007? Okay, we'll go to that in a little bit.
Anyway, him and some other comedian were sitting down, and he like called the Queen like, oh, that old hag or some shit, like, or yeah, something like that. He called her like an old hag. He said something that wasn't nice. Like he wasn't saying that she was anything negative, but he just used like a very, like deprecating kind of term. And Piers Morgan, who is like, I mean, like genuinely one of the worst people alive right now. Like he has said some awful fucking things, like, and he is ruthless and just like a shit of a fucking person. He goes, don't talk about the Queen like that, and he like corrects him, and the comedian is sitting there like, are you kidding me? Like, are you joking? This is where you draw the line? And he's like, yeah, this is where I draw the line. Like, she deserves respect, and like I really like, like he's saying like, that is my queen, and like that is not fucking appropriate, and you're not gonna talk like that about her in my presence. And it was wild. And I was like, why? I don't have anything against, Queen Lizzie. Love her.
Queen Lizzie. We love that. The Queen
But
Lizzie.
I'm like, why do you fuck with her so bad?
I think it's because it's a lot. I think it has also a lot to do with the fact that a lot of these people have been born, raised, and have died with her as the throne. So it'd be like it. So I feel like to them,
it's definitely a cultural thing.
It's definitely like a culture thing. You know what I mean?
It's like
they love their,
but also I'm like,
because even the kings and queens of like Japan, like people love their monarchy there as well.
Japan has a king.
You don't know that? They have a royal family.
There's a lot of like Asian royal families.
I know like Saudis have princes and shit.
The princess of Japan just got like taken out of her role as princess because she decided to marry a foreigner.
Bet.
Period.
She really said, fuck that. And she's a lawyer. And she's a fucking lawyer or something like that.
I can't wait for that Disney movie to come out.
For real.
That's going to be fire.
It's definitely a cultural thing, which I think it's like, I understand that. You know what I mean? Like, just there's shit about your culture that it's like, I mean, maybe I don't agree or whatever, but like, I get it. It just, it's like, I don't watch every soccer game, but like, if I do watch a soccer game, like, I'm there. You know what I mean?
I only watch the World Cup.
But me too. I'm really excited. A couple more months.
I only watch the World Cup.
That is like the only like I am not able to keep up like mentally for some reason. It doesn't click in my head to keep up with any other season, but I fucking know when the World Cup is happening.
Yeah, I only fuck with the World Cup because that's like whenever people turn into experts all of a sudden, and it's really funny to like be in the presence and like start to like talk about how Italy's fucking great or how Germany's coming up and like blah, 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 and like the school of France and all this crazy shit. Yep. And I'm just like, duh, weren't you?
That's literally me.
Weren't you selling chips like the other? Like, what are you doing right now?
What are you talking to me about? I be talking like I am a fucking like correspondent on ESPN.
Yeah.
Head ass, no, because I literally posted like the draft, like where like all the groups and stuff like that, and I've never in my fucking life posted about soccer on my page.
Oh, I post about soccer every World Cup.
Like, no, yeah, they're only during the World Cup though.
There are some fucking like thirsty ass guys that are like, I didn't know you liked soccer.
And it's like, yeah, you didn't fucking have to. Okay, thanks.
It's like, okay, you don't like soccer. You're American. You don't watch that shit. So what's your point?
I can't fucking keep up with all the like Latino soccer and shit. Like in Mexico, there are so many fucking like conferences and leagues. I'm like, we are talking. Didn't y'all just win?
I do keep up with those only because I do keep up with like our teams in Monterrey, like I do kind of like be like, because I like to see the heat that brings up when they're both playing against each other, because it's fucking hilarious. I love to see
Monterrey has two professional teams in the same city.
Yeah, so like Monterrey has two of the biggest teams.
Yeah, whenever Rayados and Tigres play each other, the fucking city goes wild.
The city goes wild. People be killing each other, literally, quite literally killing each other.
No, in Colombia, there is where my grandparents are from, or where like most of my family is from, in Cali. There's also two teams. It's Deportivo Cali and Cali America.
Oh yeah, I've heard of them.
That rivalry is fucking crazy. Yes. And like at the stadium, like people like literally kill each other. They get into fucking fights. My cousins, they like snuck into one of the games once, like they didn't tell my aunts, and my aunts were shitting bricks. Like they were so fucking nervous. And one of them, like some guy like came up to him and was like saw his jersey or whatever, or they didn't wear a jersey or anything because they didn't want to be like, you know, like tagged as one or the other team, because they were like, we're gonna get fucked up anyway. But some guy was just like messing with them, and they had to get security because they were, and like my cousins are like young. Like, I mean, the oldest one is my age, but he has like two younger brothers, and they're like 14, I think.
Oh, they're little.
So they're little, and they were so fucking scared, and they were like, para que sigan andando por ahí sin estarnos diciendo.
Yep.
I was like, period.
Damn, damn. Like, I was watching the Hot Ones interview with, I think, Matt Damon, I think, I think so. He was talking about how he went to an Argentina game, and he was all like, yo, this is serious.
Yeah.
Like they have to let out fans like one team at a time.
Absolutely.
Like, you know what I mean? Absolutely. Like they will keep your ass after the game sitting down, and then the entire stadium that roots for like this one team has to get the fuck out and far away.
Yes.
And then the next person can go. I'm like, yo, I'm not going to a game like that.
Nobody like no country has soccer fans like Argentina. It's the wildest,
they're fucking crazy
fucking thing. Like it is the wildest
I don't
thing.
think I ever want to experience that.
I do. I know. I want to go to a fucking. I want to go to a Boca game so fucking badly, like more than anything.
We went to we went to one game one time for Los Tigres, and that shit was fucking dope. Like the energy you feel when everybody, and
it was a scrimmage game. It wasn't even like a game that was part of like the.
It was literally contra Atlas. Like nobody fucking knows who the fuck Atlas is. You know what I mean?
You want to know a Latino problem that is much more like annoying and flagrant is fucking Latinos in this country currently that think they're white. That. Like American white, not just like like, you know, like whiter skin white, like no American like gringo
the whitewashed
white.
Like, the whitewashed Latinos are really
I don't
out
even
here
like calling it whitewashed because people can consider me whitewashed because I don't like Mexican culture, like, or I don't like a lot of Mexican music, or like I don't like attribute myself to like a lot of the customs and stuff like that.
Latinos are the weakest motherfuckers.
They're the weakest. But like I don't blame them.
But they'll be like dudes that
American people let y'all in and you forgot how to fucking act.
Yo, I got friends whose parents are still illegal, and they like are like super like no, like they think they're white. They just think they're like gringos, like as if they won't stop you and be prejudiced towards you, dog. Like, what are you talking about?
For
like
instance,
that's the fucking worst.
I distinctly remember one of your exes having parents who were literally immigrants, and just because they lived in the suburbs, this bitch really thought she was white. Like when really thought she was white, like she thought she had every authority to act like a white bitch.
Yeah.
And that it wouldn't matter. And it was wild. And it wasn't
just
even,
like, and
she wasn't even white color. No. She was like my color, if not darker.
Yeah.
And she really 100,000% that.
Like what are you? Like, what are you talking about?
Every time I see shit like that, I'm like, that is so embarrassing for your soul, because you are just
for your soul. That's a great way to do it.
Begging for approval.
Yeah,
you're begging for it.
You're begging to be put in a crowd that you don't belong in.
That is pathetic. Like
that's a good way of thinking about it. I didn't thought about it that way, but yes,
that's what it is. Yeah. That is exactly what it is. It's you wanting to so bad, like, convince everyone around you that you belong. And I understand the you know, just the phenomenon of also being like an immigrant or a child of immigrants, and how hard it is to exist just in a society that doesn't feel like it's the one that you are like supposed to be a part of. but like, y'all want a white man's approval so fucking bad. And you know what? I hope you get it.
You know what? And in some instances, whenever I talk to them and whenever like we like hash out like arguments, I really do genuinely think they believe what they're saying.
Oh, yes.
But and to that point, that's why I'm like, I'm not sure if I would say begging for approval. I just think they actually believe it up until they get put in a situation where they can't hide the color of their skin.
Yeah, exactly.
And somebody has to look at them and say, no, not you.
Yeah.
And then they're like, what do you mean? And you know what I mean? And then, then up until that point, I'm like, we tried to tell you, dog.
And you know what's fucking crazy is they will never put themselves in that situation because they surround themselves with nothing but really.
I've seen it happen. I saw it happen one time. I'm not gonna say any names, but I saw it happen one time where this person was convinced, and then all of a sudden it happened right in front of me, and they were like trying to act like everything was cool. It happened with a cop, and like a cop was like trying to, and I knew it was here at Precinct 6, so like I knew I had dealt with this kind of shit before, and I like as soon as the cop pulled up. This was like I think it was in my early 20s. As soon as the cop pulled up, we were here in Second Ward, and as soon as he pulled up, I already knew in like with the look in his eye. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? So then I was like immediately I put my hands on the fence, and I was like, all right, just let it happen. And my friend was like, yo, what are you doing? Like they can't like stop you, like blah blah blah, this and that. And I looked at him like, you better do what I do, dog, before your ass gets in trouble. Like
before your ass gets killed, before your ass gets
worse, right? I was all like, just do what I do, just do what I do. And he was all like, officer, blah blah blah, this and that. And the officer comes up and is all like, I haven't talked, I'm not talking to you right now. And he was all like, whoa, like, you know, and he tried to do the whole spiel about like, you know, this was before like you could video cops, right? Or at least it wasn't as prominent. And he was all like, oh, you know, what's the problem? We're just walking, blah, 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 this and that. And like, and the cop was just being rude as hell. And I just turned back and I'm like, if you don't do what I do, your ass is going to get fucking beat. And like I could see in his eyes that like his whole world was like falling apart. Like I could see that
everything he knew was being
like everything that we had argued about for who knows how long at that point, where I was all like, bro, you gotta understand what I'm telling you. And he was all like, no, bro, you don't understand, you're just in this victim mentality and this and that and blah blah blah. And I'm like, dog, if you don't put your hands on the fucking fence right now, shit, I might get beat with you, dog. Like,
I got nothing. Like, don't do it for yourself. Do it for me,
dog. Like, just do it for me, because I'm not trying to deal with this shit. And like, it essentially, the cop got close and he asked for his ID. He asked for like who he was, and he was all like, "Well, what are we getting charged with?" And I'm like, "You're saying all the wrong things right now.
You need to stop. You're literally saying all the wrong things.
You're saying all the wrong things." And the cop essentially grabbed him and like shoved him up against where like the fence where I was, and like forced, like got his wallet out and shit like that. Obviously, the cop shouldn't be doing any of that shit, and like, you know what I mean? They're like breaking the law or whatever, but it doesn't fucking matter. The point that I'm making is that they knew that we were here, that we looked the way we looked, and that you were about to, and that we looked like the whatever suspect they wanted to make up in that moment, right? And my friend, like, man, I remember his face was up against the fence, and it was like a broken man. Like, it was like, it shattered, like, right in front of me. And then afterwards, like, they left because they, you know, couldn't find anything. I wasn't saying anything. I wasn't trying to provoke the cop. Usually I might have, because I'd have been, like, heated or whatever. But, like, I was like, and this is really bad for me to say, but I was like really looking forward to just sitting on the curb with my friend and being like, so you all right?
Yeah.
Like, I know that you just went through something. Like, I know that it's seemingly like I'm about to go home and I'm about to eat some tuna. Like, I'm about to eat some rice. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I'm gonna go watch my shows and shit like that. Like, it's a normal day for me, but like, you all right? Because I know you're about to go home. You're about to ponder life real quick. Like, because you just.
And what'd your friend say?
But he really didn't know what to say. And like, essentially, it was like one of those moments. It was like a come to Jesus moment, for lack of a better term, where he was like, "I've never been treated that way before."
Yeah.
And I was like, "Yeah," and like, you, like, of course, like, I get it. Like, it's rough. And then he was like, you know, but like, we didn't even do anything. And I'm like,
Girl.
Yeah, I'm like putting my hand on his back. I'm like, yeah.
I'm like, sure, buddy.
We didn't do anything.
Go through all of the motions. Yeah. I'll be here.
Like, remember that.
Like, just,
I'll wait for it.
And I remember like very specifically, I was like gonna make a certain point because I wasn't trying to be like condescending and I wasn't trying to be like, I told you so, like right on the street. You know what I mean? I wasn't gonna do that, but I was like, I like tried to be as poignant as possible, and I looked at him and I was all like, and you know, bro, like you can handle yourself. You're about to go through this, but like this can happen to your mom.
Yeah.
Like this can happen to your sister. This can happen. Like, and I brought it to like the people that in his life were a little bit more like not defenseless, but like more vulnerable. And I was all like, yo, this can like imagine your grandma.
Yeah.
Like, we were at his house like before, so his grandma was there, and I was all like, that can happen to your grandma or mom. Traffic stop, like, you know, and like at that point is when he was all like, oh shit, like, fuck, like, fuck it happening to me, like that can happen to my mom's.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
My mom's ain't do nothing. Like, you know, my mom's would never do anything. So like, it happened only one time. But to your point, motherfuckers love to be like, no, it would never happen. No, you're just tripping. Like, no. And they love to play that shit.
I think, for instance, I was trying to say more along the lines, because I think that happened kind of like on accident.
Oh,
like,
it was a complete accident.
He wasn't putting himself in front of a cop trying to be like, hey.
And to be honest, I would have rather, and maybe like this is where my like sympathy and empathy towards him, because I care about him a lot. Like, I would have rather that not happen.
Yeah, of course.
Because like now he has to like process that.
That's hard to process.
That's a very fun thing to process or to like deal with in one way, but then on another way, I'm like, okay, well, you kind of understand how the world works now. At least here, at least the world that you're in right now, that you constantly have to live through, right? Despite the fact that we're the most diverse city, despite the fact that we're it's still a liberal city, despite the fact like all of that bullshit, right? But like a big part of me was like, nah, bro, I wish this would have never happened. Yeah. Like, I wish we would have kept arguing and you would have had the veil about like how things like really are. You know what I mean? Because I didn't feel like, I didn't want it to be my responsibility to sit there with you and like your world shattered. You know what I mean?
I but think it did that happen makes sense to your friend or whatever, but on the other hand, I'm not like that. Like, I have friends who are...
Nah, man, you live and you learn.
Why are whiter skin or are white, and I'm on the complete opposite end of that spectrum. I was like, no, you gonna learn today, baby, because I will 100,000% get profiled 1,000,000 times over before you in an instant. And I let my white friends know that. Like, I let them know immediately. I'm like, don't play with me. Do not start with me. I will get stopped at a traffic light, and there's multiple things that can happen to me that would have never happened to you. All of those things are disgusting. All of those things are humiliating. All of those things are belittling, and they would literally never happen to you. And they don't get it too much, and I'm just like, you don't get it, and you probably never will completely get it. But I want you to know
don't fight me
that I will 1,000% fight you on anything that has to do with the color of your skin.
I always tell my white friends a story about when I went to jail and they didn't let me out on bail.
Oh yeah,
that shit was, and how moms was like tripping out.
Yep,
but. I always tell them that, and they're like, they can't do that. I'm like, can't
the fuck they think you can?
Like, what universe?
I'm like, you just like saying words.
Literally, you just like
saying words. Like, I know you think those words make sense, and like on paper they should. Like, they can't do that, but also
But they do.
Like,
but also
baby,
the presidents
arrive in this universe.
Yeah, like also not presidents can't incite riots, like, and here we are. Yeah, you know what I mean? Like, what are you talking about? Like,
that's for real. That's very true.
You'd be surprised what people can do.
It's like they choose
with the right power.
People cannot murder other people. Like, make it make sense.
For real?
Make it make sense.
Damn, dog, you solved all the world's problems right here. We were just eating this fucking Korean barbecue. Like,
fuck it up,
you know what
yo.
I mean? I do love to tell that story. I not love it, but I do say it all the time because that's like the word clear.
I told that story to my white manager, and I remember that they were like, this weird thing about my manager, bro. Like, my manager is like very white, like white, but he's also surprisingly very like, I know. Like I know that does happen.
There are some white people that don't like entirely suck.
And like,
oh no. Yeah, there's white allies for sure.
He's interesting because
historically there has been a lot.
Yes.
So
like that you just said.
Like, and he's
I got y'all are invited to the carne asada.
Like he's very much
he's
like
got y'all. Don't be looking at me.
We gotta screen y'all and vet y'all for sure.
Very much because
y'all ain't just showing up.
Like, y'all take it up with them.
Like this person, like it's really weird though, because it's like there's a lot of things that I could very much agree with him, and then there's things that I'm like, why? Like you're telling this to me, like it doesn't like register in my mind how the like it's so internalized in their mind of like this is just a norm for the white people, and I'm like.
I told that story. I told the story. I told that Bond story to a white friend of mine, and they were like, "You should find out who this cop was, and you should like start an investigation." I'm like, "You trying to get me all the way fucked up?" Like, yeah, like I told him that, and I was like, "You really trying to get me out here fucked up?"
It's like, bro, you were so. I gave you the point. All you had to put your fucking finger on it.
All you had to do was
still
just take
missed it.
Like we should start an investigation. I'm like, who's we?
Who is we?
You know the DA? You like what are we doing right now? Like who first of all, who do you know that you think that you could just go and sue a cop?
Yeah.
Like I'm like the amount of
their dad is a lawyer.
Yeah, there might have been a lawyer. Their dad might have been a lawyer, but still, it's like to them it was like. Oh yeah, you can just do that
over your head.
What's crazy though, like,
but like the fact that wasn't even an option. Oh, we should start an investigation.
I remember.
I'm like, who is investigating who? Because I don't like the words that you just said because it feels like I'm gonna get asked a lot of questions and I don't want to answer.
It feels like I'm going to jail.
If somebody's with a suit asks me a question in front of you, I'm gonna find you after this. Like I don't want to try to talk to nobody unless they're wearing wife beaters and Converse.
Like that world-shattering moment that your friend went through.
Yeah.
I remember all of the ones that have happened to me as like one, a Latina, one, a woman, two, like all of the things that are
you might have had some early because of me actually.
Oh no, I know. I had a lot.
I know.
I was just crazy as a fucking kid.
I've had a lot of them like as I'm growing up, and I've had some that like really sucked to feel because it was
I feel like the difference with that is that like in those positions like you are anticipating it. You know what I mean? When you grow up and you hear all these stories, you're like, oh no, fuck, no way that's true. But you know that it's gonna happen to you eventually. Yeah. And that's the thing with white people. It's not that they're like, it's not true. It's that they cannot fathom.
Because it would never happen.
That is the world. Because that is not the world that they live in.
And it would never happen to them.
You know what I mean?
Never happen to them.
It would never happen to them. So to them, it's just like, I have no proof that this is, like I have no way to corroborate
to verify it. Yeah. We were a couple episodes ago. We were talking about parenting. Remember, we were talking about like how like soft parenting or tough parenting or whatever. And I was soft and I was like, oh, we can like it all depends on context, right? And I only say that because again, I'm fucking brown, and I remember pops telling me whenever I was already older, like I had to condition you for the environment that you were living in.
Yes, of course.
There was no way that I could have ever been soft with you because if I was going to be soft with you,
you would not survive.
Then you were then the environment around you was going to eat you alive.
Yes, absolutely.
You know what I mean? So like it had nothing to do with whether I felt bad about doing like teaching you certain things or making you learn certain lessons in my control or whatever. It had everything to do with if I don't teach him how to be this way, X, Y, and Z, then whenever this situation inevitably comes to his doorstep, he's not going to be able to handle it.
And he knew that they were going to come to your doorstep.
And it did. And it fucking did. And this is, every single one of the things that he said was going to happen happened.
Me breaking, having these world-shattering moments.
Yeah. And it was, and like to me, sorry, I don't mean to cut you off. To me, I'm like looking back on it retrospectively, I'm like, what a fucking great parent.
Yeah.
But if you look at it in the moment, certain things, I'm like, yo, that might be suspect.
Or if you look at it like
that might
sociologically,
be that might be suspect. You might be like
society might be like, what the fuck?
Kid in the long run. And I'm like, no. Like
this is just what
now I'm like, no. Let me get to the long run. Like, we're already winning if we get to the long run.
Babe.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
So in that sense, I'm like, this is why parenting is so difficult.
So nuanced.
And I've had like super hard, like big heart to hearts with Pops because it was like, no, like you probably had to pull at your heartstrings a lot.
Yeah.
Doing whatever you had to do.
Yep.
Despite the fact that you're like, no, he has to learn this.
Yes.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And that's crazy you say it that way because that's exactly how it like registers in my mind as when we were talking about like the soft and like hard parenting because I think it's gonna sound even worse when I say it like this, but like my kid having autism, my kid having ADHD, like severe ADHD, where like she has a really hard time paying attention, and I don't want to necessarily have her grow up on meds to where she has no other choice but to pay attention. It's leading me down the road where it's like when she's doing something she's not supposed to and she does it like the 5th time come around and I really have to teach her, you cannot run into the street type of thing.
Yeah.
Because she will bolt the fuck out and I'm like, you cannot do that. The only saddening way that I can get her to understand that is by whooping her ass. And it sounds like really shitty, and it is really shitty because it hurts my heart to know that I have to hit a 4-year-old and be like, you cannot, and I have to scream at her, essentially traumatize her because I have to be like, you cannot do that.
This is the only way that you can learn.
And it's like, because that's literally the only way it registers in her
That's how it's going to register.
Yes, and it's so saddening because like I was actually talking to Mom about this, and she was like, there was things that I had to do with each of you specifically because there was no other way to get you guys to understand. And she's like, your brother, you.
Yeah.
Like, you. Because he had...
I was the worst, man.
Hyper tendencies. We were never cabezones, like, and we were never like chiflados, but we were very like
look that you use cabezones as like an actual adjective.
Yeah.
We use but we use it as like hard-headed.
Like hard-headed, like you're being very like
like a cabezón for us is like
stubborn.
You're just hard-headed and stubborn.
We just use it as like a picking, like an
use it as actual big head.
Like my mom would be like, mira cabezón.
No,
or whatever.
Like we use like no seas cabezón.
Or maybe like necio,
no seas cabezón. No, but it's not necio even. It's like no seas cabezón. Like don't be like nothing penetrates your skull.
Yes,
like everything that we're saying, it doesn't register.
It doesn't register. So like he wasn't necessarily like that. So he did listen to my mom. But the only reason why he listened to my mom once he got a little bit older was because my mom used to hit the fuck out of him because he didn't listen at first. And my mom was like, it sucked, but literally that is how I had to raise your brother, because unless I did that, there was no way he was ever going to register that I had the authority to tell him he couldn't do something, and that helped him out in the future when he knew when I knew something that he wasn't supposed to do, that I could see him itching to do, and I had to stop him. I also
cost him a lot of money. I was born with like the world's like all the confidence that you could ever possibly have.
That's why.
So like for me, like everything was a possibility. Nothing could stand in my way.
That's crazy.
Like everything was like, oh, I could do that. There's no way I can't do that. Oh, I could, and it was like the most ridiculous shit. Oh, I can climb that. Like it was ridiculous. Like I'm sitting there looking at a roller coaster underneath at Fiesta, Texas. Like, you know what I mean? Like climb the fence, and I'm just looking at the roller coaster up, and we got kicked out of the fucking park. Like nothing was an obstacle.
It baffles me
what I mean?
when I realize that some people do not grow up with like crippling like low self-esteem or like crippling anxiety.
I had the highest self-esteem. My self-esteem.
He was born with every ounce of self-esteem that I lacked. Okay,
yeah, so I was born with all the self-esteem you could possibly imagine.
Olivia, you wouldn't have to put this in. But Olivia, she is just recently went through like this period where she's like, dude, like I don't like myself, man. Like I don't like myself in this moment or whatever. And she was like, and I've never felt like that. And Brenda and I were like, huh?
¿Cómo?
We were like, ever?
Repite?
Again,
like never.
We don't have to put this in. But,
I was like,
but
Olivia, I have only started to like myself like
last week,
like maybe this year.
I took a shit the other day, and I was like, man, I really like myself right now.
It's not even like I think I'm the shit. It's like, all right, you can stay.
Yeah,
you know,
like
it's like right. We'll keep you around.
You've been through some shit.
I have some redeemable. Like I've only learned to not want to kill myself. Like as an adult,
absolutely,
you know, like that. But like it's true. Like like facts. There's people that grew up and they grew up just like feeling good about themselves.
Yeah.
It believe me, crazy.
I grew up feeling like I could do everything in the world.
And it was wild to me.
And it went backwards for me especially my teenage years, as I realized the world I was living in and the circumstance of everything about me, I was like,
I really can't do that.
Shit. And I started, then it started to be like really crippling because it felt like I had chains. I felt like I was like, had shackles on my feet everywhere I went.
That's crazy.
So, and then I had to like, again, like I had to like figure out a way to overcome that. So it was like a lot of like identity fighting circumstance. But
that's crazy.
But it's, to that point, it was like I was born with all of it. So like my mom, there was nothing moms could say. And I had like, I still don't have any like real concept of the gravity of authority.
Yes.
Like I know that authority exists, so I know that people have authority over me in like jobs or something like that, but like they actually don't have any like hold. But
you don't believe it.
I don't believe it. Yeah, like I would look at you and I'm like, I have to tell you yes because I understand. I've learned how to like not get into an argument with you over time, teachers and like things like that. How to like not put my foot in my mouth.
You have just learned how to navigate.
I've learned how to navigate through like that not giving wild,
you because nothing could get me shaking like authority. When I was young, I was like, I would trust any adult before I trust my own thoughts.
I'm the opposite. I'm like, you don't know what you're doing.
That's like wild.
Like at school, everywhere.
That is truly insane.
I would just like look at people and be like,
if my teacher would have been like, "You're a piece of shit," I would have been like, "Damn, I'm a piece of shit."
But like moms, moms and dads hated that. Like, I remember mom,
yeah, bro.
Like they would hate it. They would hate it so much because they would try to discipline me, and I would just look at them stoically and be like, "Are you done?" Like, because this isn't whatever you think this is happening right now.
Every time I hear about people like you, I'm like, I wonder how my mom would have done with